Well, it is Saturday. Mark's at work, and I have been neglecting the weeding in the garden. I've been tending to the plants, taking care of things. We've been spraying neem oil and putting DE on stuff for pest control, but these weeds are out of control. I've got really low amounts of mulch right there. We didn't mulch this year because honestly, I was hoping to not be here. I was hoping to be 100% on our land or moved to Kentucky. So we did not mulch, and we should have. So now I'm paying for it. This morning, before I decided to grab the camera, I mulched no I didn't. I weeded around the potatoes. I still have a little bit more to do over there. Those potatoes are actually, I think I'm gonna go ahead and take them because there's not enough in there to store them. So I don't need to really make sure the skins are nice and thick and all of that. But right now, I need to finish this. We gotta clean things up. I gotta get the rest of this weeding done before it gets crazy out of control. And then I'll give you guys a garden tour.
Standing underneath the lights, look into each other's eyes. Tired snowflakes are coming down, collapse into water when they hit the ground. I hear the sound of empty streets, and yesterday has gone to sleep. All that's left is you and me. I can promise you're the only thing I see. Hold my hand and hear the words I say. Close your eyes and let us fade away. Build a secret place for you and me. Let our minds be caught up in a dream. Voices in the night. Time is running out of sight. A lonely wind is passing by, tries to carry all the whispers that it finds. The walls are listening when we talk, making echoes as we walk. There's no one left but you and me. It's like a made-up place that only we can see.
This area is gonna be good enough. Not perfect. I like to leave this back here, this little bit of ground cover, because when that gets good cover in there, less grass and thistle grow. So we're gonna let that be. But coming over here, this is out of control. Now there's barely any wood chips in here. You can see the dirt is right there. So grass is growing through. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna weed whack it, except I'm gonna take a really heavy duty tarp and put it over top and just kind of line it down here so we can knock it down. And then when I can get a hold of some natural mulch, then we will mulch this heavily on top of here. With some cardboard underneath it first. We're never going to plant in this spot. This is, like I said, the entryway to the garden. So I am not too worried about it, but I really don't like it doing this and just working its way back to the vegetables. And we don't want that. So let's get this taken care of.
Hold my hand and hear the words I say. Close your eyes and let us fade away. Build a secret place for you and me. Let our minds be caught up in a dream. Standing underneath the lights.
So let's see, I've got it within a couple inches of the tomato plants. I don't want to go too close, but I definitely want to get as close as possible so that we don't have like the creeping Charlie. There was creeping Charlie coming in here, and a lot of grass you saw, and some other things that will kind of vine out and take over. But I still have to take care of around the plants here, so that's the next thing we're gonna do. That's a good thing I got down in here. This was putting out quite the shoot off the bottom of that tomato plant, so we don't want that in there. So I'm just gonna kind of do what's called chop and drop, and I'm cutting down, or pulling out rather, these weeds and just flipping them over. Going to, I grabbed a thistle. I hate those things. And we're just gonna let them kind of die back right here, because what that's gonna do is help prevent more things from growing back over time. And as it breaks down, it's going to also feed the soil. Well, that is much better, so we'll have to see how that does. So we'll just let that be for a good long while, and then I'll pull it back every so often and see how it goes. So the peppers are doing pretty well. I'm starting to be able to tell, if you've watched the other garden updates, I had no idea what was what, and now we're starting to be able to tell what is what. So that whole first row, except for 2, are jalapenos. And this row here is mostly bell peppers from the little bits that I've seen. I have a couple plants here and there. I did spray these guys with neem oil, and these I think I probably oversprayed. And this is what happens if you use too much neem oil. You kill your plants. So I think this was my fault. These 2 right here were struggling anyway. I've got one right over there that is also doing the same thing. And I think that heavy-handed shot of neem oil just kind of did them in. But I don't know. We'll see what they do. I'm definitely not one to pull out a plant until I am absolutely sure that it's dead. So we'll just give it a little more time. But you can see on some of those plants, they are already getting pretty loaded with peppers, and those will be ready to harvest before you know it. The volunteer tomatoes that were in here from last year are great. I need to stake that one already, and I'm just going to do little individual T-posts for these guys. I'm not going to try and move them and risk killing them, because this will be our late tomato crop. I've got, let's see, 1 over there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, got 1 over there, so 8, 9. I have 9 volunteer tomato plants, so that'll be an extra little bumper crop of tomatoes. After these guys are done producing, these guys will be starting to produce, and we'll be in good shape. That's what I got for beets. I planted this whole long row. I planted them pretty closely too, and this whole section here didn't pop up at all. I thought I saw a few that did, but I had a baby rabbit get in this garden. There's one section of the garden that they can get into, and he found it. And you can see on a couple of them how they've been chewed off. And I think they got the other ones and did them in. So I've got a few beets. I will be planting more of these when I harvest my other ones. I'm waiting on some more seeds. So as soon as those come, we'll be planting more beets. The green beans, I cannot wait to start harvesting from. I know once green bean season starts, it doesn't stop. You are constantly picking green beans every day. And I'm really excited for it. Oh, looks like I have some guests that need to be evicted. So we'll be spraying more neem oil tonight. The green beans really handle the neem oil well. That's why I started using neem oil. And then I found out you can use it on many more things, for many more things, than what I guess the assumed use is for those Japanese beetles. But you can use them for a whole list of other things too, including you can add it to your pet shampoo. It says right there on the back of the bottle. But these look fantastic. The only issue with this trellis, and I was kind of worried about this, is it started trellising onto the fence here, and when I catch it, I just feed it back through the fence, back out here. So that's what we're doing. We're going back and forth with that. This basil plant is doing amazing. We've harvested a couple times off this, and I desperately need to do it again because it's thinking it's ready to flower, and we're not ready for that yet. So let's pop those off. The tomatoes, you saw this row, they are really starting to produce here. I've got lots of tomatoes coming on, but all the other tomatoes in all the rows are doing wonderful. You've got some new kinds, I think. These are my homestead tomatoes. I think these are the pineapple tomatoes. I could be wrong, but I think they are. I only had a couple of those. It's a new variety for us. But look at these beautiful clusters of tomatoes here. I can't wait. So I have to take this back. I just noticed this. I have this tomato plant is doing okay, but this one, where did it go? Here it is, you can't even see it. This one's being overtaken by the oregano again. So we have to get out here. I probably won't get to this tonight. I'm hoping in the early hours of tomorrow morning, I can come in here and clear this out, and a good chunk of that too, because this is just too much for these last couple tomato plants. And I already have probably close to a year's worth of oregano dried and stored. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and just start pulling. It's gonna grow back anyway. But I wanna save these tomato plants because definitely have more oregano than tomatoes. And I want to get as many tomatoes as possible this year. The okra. I am so thrilled with how this okra is turning out. Okra blossoms are probably the most beautiful blossom that I have in this garden. They are just beautiful, and I don't see any right now, but I do have a picture of one over on Instagram, which I have a link always in the description box if you want to check out that on Instagram. But they're so beautiful. Look at that one. Can you see it? Look at how loaded that plant is. We love okra. Beautiful, beautiful plant. So excited to grow this year and that it's producing. Now these peas are done. They've been done for a good long while. I'm just letting them dry out so we can seed save these and replant, and that'll be happening this week. Now this scarlet runner looks like it has been munched on also. See this here, more over here. It's definitely been victim to that rabbit. The watermelon is everywhere. Remember when I said I need to trellis this? Yeah, I didn't get to it. Another thing I hope to get to this week, but we are getting watermelon. So in case this is your first garden update with us, we have not planted watermelon for 2 years. So we had some volunteer watermelon last year that didn't really do much of anything. But this year, this has taken off. There's tons of blossoms and we're getting watermelon. And here, this, oh look, a Nerf dart. Life with boys. This is a black bean volunteer. Got one here and one here, and we've got blossoms. This is another really beautiful blossom. I love black bean plants. I still have tons of black beans from last year. The leeks are finally getting to a point where I can harvest. I've harvested 2 or 3 of them already, and we're just waiting for them and pulling them as they're ready. It's July, it's 100 degrees, and that's cabbage. And there's another one. And there's heads on them. And they haven't bolted. I don't know how this is happening, to be perfectly honest. And they don't have tons and tons and tons of ridiculous damage. I haven't found any worms. I have seen moths, but I haven't found any worms or eggs. think these guys were just meant to be this year. I haven't done much of anything. This is a Tomatillo plant, which actually I think is like 2 or 3 Tomatillo plants that I transplanted this. So I bought it from a nursery and put it in here. It's got a lot of blossoms. Haven't found any starting to turn yet. So we'll see how this does. I've never had a Tomatillo. This is a total experiment. Ground cherries. Oh, if you have never had ground cherries, you need to have ground cherries. They are kind of a pineapple-y, how do I describe it? They are kind of like a pineapple-y, cherry, tomato-y kind of flavor. I know that's a lot of very different flavors together, but that's probably the best I can describe it. I had my first one yesterday, and I gave Evie her first, I gave Evie her first one yesterday. Do I see another one? Wait a minute. Here is a finished ground cherry. You know they're ready to harvest when they drop off the plant. You don't pick them early. At least that's what I've read. And they have the best flavor when they drop on their own, and their husk looks like that. And you just peel them back. This is the smallest one I've seen. And you pop them off, and they are delicious. They're so sweet. I am not a raw tomato eating kind of person. It's just not my preferred flavor, my preferred way of eating for tomatoes. But I could eat these all day. So this is a new crop for us, and one that we will plant from now on multiple rows of. It's so, so tasty. We pulled all the carrots. I'm going to plant more carrots in here. We pulled the onions too. I've got a couple more I need to pull out of there. It is just probably about 105 right now with the heat index, and it's really disgusting. So I'm done gardening for now. But all of this needs to be badly weeded, as you can tell. But it really has not hurt our zucchini. This is a yellow zucchini plant that's doing great. Harvested 2 off of this one. I'm sure it'll do way better and start producing much faster once all of this nonsense is cleared out. So we've got a few more pea plants in here that are drying, and we'll probably be pulling those later tonight. Honestly, they look like they're about done. And this cucumber plant is very happily taking its place. We've already found quite a few cucumbers in there that'll be ready any day now. I have been moving runners from this guy. I mean, it's a cucumber plant, it's what they do, a couple times a day already. And the rosemary and thyme and other rosemary over there, I don't want those to be completely drowned out by the cucumbers. I need to add some kind of trellising. You know, I said this for the peas too, and I never did it, but I need to do this because cucumbers are a whole different deal. The potatoes, we decided to go ahead and pull. I think this one actually we might give a bit more time. This one has fallen over, and there's not going to be a need to let these cure, let the skins thicken up on them. You want to have a cure time for potatoes to store long term. And since we're not doing this, since this is a very small amount of potatoes, probably 1 meal for us, it was a total experiment with something that I already had laying around the house. And the potato towers, if you remember me building these, were just with spare things that I had laying around. So no money went into this. And I mean, I'm pretty happy for a free investment in this. It's done really well. So I'm excited to see. I've been really itching to get at these for a while now to see what is under the dirt. So soon, very soon. Raspberries have exploded. I'm taking over this whole walkway here. More German chamomile that is about ready. I need to pop the tops off of these and just dry them for teas and things. And they smell so good just sitting here. I love to sit here and smell them. It's probably one of my favorite smells from the garden this year. The sage and lemongrass is doing well. So is this other raspberry plant. However, it fell victim to a rogue lawnmower. But we're not going to talk about that. And the purple sage is doing really well too. Harvesting off of this very regularly. Cherry trees surprisingly have had very little damage. from the Japanese beetles. It's usually a constant fight. I am using neem oil and DE on them. So I don't know if it's just not a severe year for the Japanese beetles. I know other people have really struggled with them, but they haven't been bad for us. And the orange mint is always doing really well. I really cut this back. I give a lot of this to the chickens when we're going through really long, hot, dry spells. Chocolate mint is another really good one. This one was not doing well, and I gave it a good fertilizing. All of these potted plants I fertilized with fish emulsion, and they are really doing well now. I also fertilized the black pot here of green beans. I did not fertilize as heavily this one because I wanted to kind of experiment a little bit. And I definitely need to come back and fertilize it because that one's doing a lot better. So we'll come back and fertilize those. Those are the green beans. The beets are ready. I need to get in here and harvest these guys. I've got a little bit, believe it or not, more salad that is getting shaded by the beets. So once I pull those beets, these are gonna bolt, and then we'll be done with lettuce, and I'm gonna be planting some more. Lemon balm and basil and a sea of grass and weeds. So I'm not pulling out this grass because I don't have anything to put in the place of what was here. I had some herbs in here. They were very spotty germination. It was mostly lemon balm and then another type of basil, and it was very spotty, and the grass and weeds very quickly took over. I think I see some ragweed in there. That needs to be pulled because my husband's very allergic to it. But I'm waiting for more seeds so that I can plant. I'm gonna do high intensity planting in here. So once I get those seeds, I will go ahead, pull this out, add some soil in here because everything is settled quite a bit in these hugelkultur beds, and I really wanna, so I'm really gonna need to add some soil into this, and then we will plant a bunch of other things. I think I'm gonna do my cool weather crops. I'm gonna do lettuces over here again, and then I'm gonna do some more cabbage and cauliflower and broccoli over here. So this does not get a super high amount of shade, and I can actually shade this. I've got some hooks that I can rig up here and put a shade cloth here so that it's not getting nailed by the sun. We can get some filtered sunlight through here, so that should help not kill them before we get to enjoy them. Okay, so we decided to take down the potato towers, and that one's done, and that's what we got from that. That was 3 towers or 3 boards high. Don't throw them. You can't throw them because look, they get damaged. Don't do that. So that came from those, and then this one was 4 towers high, so we're gonna see what we got from this one. You ready to dig? You're already digging. All right. Ready? Let's set it up. This a potato or is it a starter? What do you think? Nope, it's potato. Put it in the potato pile.
And some more potatoes. Oh.
That one?
Yep, that's the potato.
Super teeny tiny one. There's another one. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Another one. No, that's a clump of dirt. Whoop, here's another. That is a super teeny tiny.
Put this potato.
Lots of clumps of dirt.
Yeah.
Next time we gotta use better compost, I think. Yeah. This is a very dense
There is so
dirt.
much dirt in this.
I was kind of short on what I could use. I had to use what I had on hand, so.
You found a whole bunch of potatoes.
Yep. So we didn't have the greatest. See, that's the starter. Nope, that's the starter. Yeah. So we don't need that anymore. So next time I want to use much looser soil.
Push all this to the side.
I can't believe this one didn't do better. Here. Let's take the next level off. Maybe there's some farther down.
Yeah. I think that's it.
I hope not. That was only a few. See, but that's very clay-like.
Yeah.
Not good potato growing soil.
Oh,
Ooh,
good
nice
juicy.
earthworm If we had the chickens out here.
There's so much worms. You just keep digging
This
for
one-
those potatoes.
Did not do anything.
Just thinking on like clumps of dirt or potatoes.
Yeah, I think this was too tightly packed in here.
I hope that's not it.
I think that's it. That was just not a good...
I mean, look at all those potatoes. What we got from that one?
Between the two potato towers, that's the harvest we got off of the taller tower, and that's the harvest we got off the shorter one. The dirt in here, though, on the right one, there's a lot more clay in there than I realized there was, and this one was definitely looser, which is really important for potatoes to be able to lay down good tubers. All in all, I'm pretty happy with this for the first year successfully
That one has the most.
doing potatoes. Yes, it does have the most. This one came from that one right there.
This one has
So we'll enjoy this. Maybe we should make some mashed potatoes tomorrow, Caleb? You hate mashed potatoes. And we could probably make a good amount of mashed potatoes for the family for one meal. For the first year doing it this way, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Was definitely better than I thought it was gonna be. Well, this side anyway. I was kind of expecting what happened in here, but it's pretty good. I'll take it.